Well, I got all the stuff I need to survive out.
I know you're in there, I just saw you 2 seconds ago. Are you going to come out?
Well, it has been done because the geezer just ran past me, jumped in his motor and sped off that way.
It could be arson then.
A peaceful van camping encounter can instantly turn into a nightmare when you're miles from help. Imagine an unexplained inferno raging just feet from your bed or a furious stranger violently banging on your locked door. When your safe haven is threatened, what's your next move? On June 24, 2025, Ads from the YouTube channel Ads Ventures was traveling along the coast of East Sussex, England. His channel follows van travel, overnight camping, and everyday life on the road. That evening, he stopped near Winchelsea Beach while heading toward Rye to buy a birthday gift for his mother. At first, the area seemed completely normal, but something outside his van soon changed the night.
I'm so confused about what's going on outside, right? Look at this. What is that? It looks like smoke coming out. Or just out the front. I swear that's a fire. That is not clouds. What is happening?
With the van parked, Ads began preparing dinner. While eating, he noticed a thick cloud on one of his security cameras near a vehicle farther ahead. Moments later, he realized what was happening.
Right, so I'm trying to film me at the same time as filming the fire up there. Something bad's happened, obviously.
Whereabouts are we?
We're in Winchelsea.
There's a fire involving a caravan by the looks of it. They've had several more calls. I've just rang them and basically they are on their way.
I'm just going to go spin my van around in case someone comes back and does that to my van, because someone's done that. Well, it has been done because the geezer just ran past me, jumped in his motor and sped off that way.
It could be arson then.
Right, someone set fire to the van that's just down the road behind me. It was the person who was parked in front of me. I'll explain more in a minute. But I need to move my van in case they're going to do it to mine as well.
A caravan was on fire only a short distance away, with flames spreading across much of it. The blaze also forced a passing bus to stop because the road was blocked. Unsure how the fire had started, Ads became uncomfortable staying so close. He moved his van farther back and turned it around so he could leave quickly if the situation became worse. East Sussex Fire and Rescue soon arrived and brought the fire under control, but the caravan was almost completely destroyed.
The camper van is fully ablaze behind me there. This is no joke. We've got a massive tail of traffic all down here. I can hear the fire engine in the background. Do you want to just tuck it up a bit in case he reckons the fire engine's coming down here? Oh yeah, there is one, I can see it. Just tuck it up a bit, mate, and then it should be able to get through. Probably been about 10 minutes now since that fire engine turned up. You can see the guys just down there spraying the last bits to make sure it's fully out. I guess I've got to wait for the police to turn up, because if I leave the scene, they're going to think it's suspicious.
Ads waited in case police wanted to speak with him, but no one came. Feeling the area was no longer safe for the night, he eventually drove away. The next morning, Ads reviewed his CCTV footage.
So let's just talk you through this on the actual timeline of exactly how things happen from my point of view. When I was eating my second toastie, I looked up on the CCTV and I saw a van just parked up in front of me. I was finishing my food and like I said, this geezer ran past the van that way and up here. Now as soon as I heard his footsteps running and panting past my van, I looked up on the CCTV, I was like, what's all that about? Why is someone out for a run at this time of night? But I saw that he jumped straight into his van and sped off, which I thought was a bit weird, and I was wondering why. But in my head, I just come to the conclusion that maybe he'd been caught short. He needed the toilet, and he'd run up onto the beach, done his business, and then he jumped back in the van and just carried on his journey.
Looking more closely, Ads saw what appeared to be the same man leaving the vehicle, walking past his van and heading toward the seawall. He seemed to remove something from his pocket before continuing toward the caravan. Soon afterward, the fire began.
So from that point onwards, you saw everything unfold as it happened. But last night, after checking my CCTV, I found out what happened prior to all of that. He got out of his van from here. He's walked along past my van and he has approached the stairs which lead up towards the beach. Now, as he's got to about this point right here, he bends down and he's sort of preparing something. He's probably got, I don't know, petrol in his lighters or whatever. But basically, he's doing something up on this spot here. Now, he's doing that for about 30 seconds, and then he starts heading down this ramp here, back towards the spot over here where the fire took place. And as you can see, it is just here in front of us. That's the last I see of him for a while, because what I think must have happened, there were cars coming up and down this road at the time, so he's probably just wanted to get away from this as quick as possible, and he's taken this route up here, so I couldn't see that bit on the camera, and I didn't spot him again for a while until he was further back there.
The man appeared to remain nearby watching the flames before running back past Ads' occupied camper and driving away. Based on the sequence, Ads suspected the caravan may have been deliberately set on fire. Some viewers suggested it could have been destroyed for disposal or insurance reasons, but the video never confirms the owner or motive. What do you think the CCTV actually shows? The creator behind the YouTube channel Coyote Works uploaded a video documenting one of his remote backcountry adventures. He spends much of his time exploring isolated areas and sharing those trips with viewers. His adventures include overland camping in a Jeep Wrangler JK Rubicon, sleeping in a rooftop tent backpacking, and staying in survival shelters. But during this trip on September 17, 2018, an otherwise familiar journey took a disastrous turn.
As always, bringing you guys along with me on a trip into some of the most remote, untraveled parts of the Central Oregon, Eastern Oregon desert. I just found my first sign of what looks like some homesteading or something up in this little draw. And I've long suspected there was going to be something up this draw. I've just never gone up it to explore. All right, this is pretty cool right here. This is, I walked just a little ways. I may be 50 yards from the homestead down there. Oh, there's another piece of an old stove right there. And this was an old barn, or the remnants of an old barn, and right up behind me here there's a bunch of chicken wire. So I know there was a chicken coop up there. So this was a pretty substantial little homestead. I'm pretty stoked about this.
After exploring the surrounding area, he decided to move farther away and find a more isolated place to camp. That decision brought him into the situation that would soon put both him and the surrounding land at risk.
About an hour or so before dark, I finally came into a valley that had a lot of level ground and was looking for a place to camp for the night. About halfway across the valley, I came to an old range fence gate. So like always, I turned the Jeep off, dropped the keys in my pocket, and got out to open up the gate. As I was getting out of the Jeep, I noticed smoke starting to come out from underneath the hood, so I immediately opened the hood to see what was going on. Now, up until that moment, there was no indication that there was anything wrong with my Jeep. No warning lights on, the temperature gauge was reading normal, and it was driving just fine. For the next couple of minutes, things moved really fast as I jumped into action trying to put out the fire. As soon as I opened the hood, flames started coming up from the back of the motor. It looked like they were originating between the rear of the motor and the firewall. So I ran around to the back of the Jeep, grabbed my fire extinguisher, and immediately began spraying it on what I thought was the source of the flames. I continued spraying my fire extinguisher on the flames until it was empty. And for a minute, it actually seemed like it was kind of effective in putting down the flames a little bit. But a few seconds after my fire extinguisher ran dry, as I was standing there looking at the Jeep, the flames flared back up again.
All right, this is why you carry a fire extinguisher. God damn it, it's still going.
So I ran around to the back of the Jeep and I grabbed a couple of gallon containers of water, came back to the front and started splashing water on top of the flames. And again, after doing that for a few minutes, it seemed like I had the flames somewhat under control. And they were somewhat under control in the engine compartment. But what I didn't quite realize yet is they had already started to spread through the firewall and were burning inside the dash, inside the passenger compartment of the vehicle. Once I realized this, I knew there was no chance of me putting out the vehicle fire. I also knew at that point that I didn't have much time to retrieve stuff from the vehicle. So then I immediately started redirecting my efforts towards pulling some basic survival supplies out of the vehicle in case I was stuck out there for a few days. Around this time, I also decided I needed to grab the full fuel can off the back of my Jeep to keep it from adding fuel to the fire. In retrospect, this was a little bit silly considering how big the rest of the Jeep fire was. I don't think that 3 gallons of gas was really going to make much of a difference.
All right, well, I got all the stuff I need to survive out. I cut a little fire line on the other side. I'm going to go work on that a little bit more because I don't want to burn the forest down out here. That wind's coming this direction, so I was trying to cut a fire line around this side, but always an adventure, guys.
I spent almost 2 hours intermittently fighting range fires and trying to cut fire line in around the Jeep. The whole time I just kept thinking, no matter what happens, I cannot let this start a range fire. If a range fire gets started out here, it'll burn for 16,000 acres before it stops.
As the emergency unfolded, he focused on controlling the fire and preventing it from spreading into a much larger range fire. At the same time, he collected the essential supplies he might need, because he had no idea how long he would remain stranded. Fortunately, he still had his phone. Using a GPS application, he sent his location track to a friend, allowing that person to find him. By the following morning, he was able to return home safely. The incident showed how quickly an ordinary outdoor trip can become dangerous. Staying calm during an emergency can help people recognize secondary dangers, such as a small fire spreading beyond the original accident. His response may have prevented the situation from becoming much worse. If you were stranded in the same situation, would you focus first on saving your supplies or stopping the fire from spreading? On February 12, 2024, the YouTube channel Roaming Reckless shared a trip into the Alaskan wilderness. The traveler began an almost 2-mile hike toward a remote mountain yurt as the sun was going down. She carried a very heavy backpack while moving through deep snow.
We're 15 minutes into our walk. My back is already killing me. This really isn't too bad of a hike though. I mean, it's just basically like compacted snow. Super easy to walk on, so that's good. We have like, I don't know, probably a mile and a half left.
By the time she and her dog reached the isolated yurt, darkness had already settled over the area.
Oh my gosh. Someone remind me to get a hiking backpack, a proper one. Thanks.
Inside, she spent nearly 2 hours trying to get the wood stove working. However, the firewood provided at the shelter was wet. Each attempt failed, the fire repeatedly went out, and smoke began filling the yurt while the temperature outside continued to fall.
Not good. Now my pickle is that it's pitch dark. Do I really want to walk 45 minutes straight in the pitch dark through the Alaskan wilderness? No, I don't. But I can't stay here if there's no fire. I mean, I think it's only supposed to be like 18 tonight. What do I do? I give the fire one last ditch effort using the one log left I have that I think is semi-not wet. So we'll see what happens. See how smoky it is in here? Just from like dealing with wet wood.
Concerned that her dog could become too cold during the night, she decided she could not remain there. She left most of her equipment behind and started hiking back through the completely dark Alaskan wilderness.
This sucks. It took us like 45 minutes to get up to the yurt. I'm hoping with my lighter pack weight, I should be able to get back a lot faster. Well, not really time to like play, but I like the positive energy. Hallelujah, Poe. I've never been so happy to see this truck in my life.
She carried several lights and a knife during the return trip. Eventually, she reached her vehicle exhausted but relieved. That relief did not last long. The diesel heater inside the vehicle began pushing out freezing air and displayed an error connected to the fuel system. With the main heater no longer working, she turned to a portable backup heater to get through the night.
And the diesel heater is blowing freezing cold air. Okay, cool, the diesel heater broke already. Yeah, I feel you, bub. That's what you call Murphy's Law. All right, I'll go ahead and turn that sucker off. And that's why you carry a buddy heater.
The following morning, she returned to the yurt and discovered that everything she had left inside had frozen solid. She also found a warning stating that an aggressive black bear had recently tried to enter all 3 yurts in the area. While she was dealing with the heater problem, another piece of equipment failed. Her portable power station suddenly stopped working.
So it just died by hitting this?
Mm-hmm. It was at 41%, and I pushed the power button to reset it, to turn it off, and then turn it back on, and it won't turn back on.
Technicians later determined that snow and ice had blocked the heater intake. They also discovered that spilled coffee had damaged the power cables. Looking back on the trip, She said the nighttime hike from the yurt had been the most frightening experience she had ever had while vehicle camping.
You guys, that walk back from the yurt was genuinely the most scared I've ever been truck camping. It was the freakiest feeling, like just something was watching you, and I felt like I had a bear about to attack me at any moment.
Despite the equipment failures and the fear she experienced during the hike, both she and her dog eventually made it through the situation safely. Would you have stayed with the backup heater or left the area after so many things had already gone wrong? On January 8, 2020, the Japanese YouTube channel S4U uploaded a video of friends traveling across Hokkaido in a rented camper van. They had planned to spend 4 days camping and exploring together. During the drive, they talked, laughed, and recorded different moments from the trip, unaware that an unexpected accident was about to happen. Earlier on the road, they passed a yellow warning sign alerting drivers to crosswinds ahead. Only moments later, after talking casually about the wind, a powerful gust hit the camper van. The driver lost control, resulting in an accident. Everyone inside survived, but the group suffered bruises, damaged glasses, and stiff necks. Police soon arrived at the scene and took statements about what had happened. Despite the frightening experience, the friends recovered from the incident and continued their journey. They were fortunate that the crash resulted only in relatively minor injuries, since similar road accidents can sometimes have far more serious consequences. Crosswinds can be especially difficult for tall vehicles because their larger side surface catches more wind, making sudden gusts harder to manage. If you saw a crosswind warning while driving a camper van, would you continue normally or become much more cautious? What would you do if the storm outside became strong enough to crush the shelter around you? They faced exactly that situation before the real challenge even began. On June 28, 2026, the YouTube channel AB Camping and Outdoors uploaded a camping trip that turned into a difficult escape. The camper and his dog were staying beside a peaceful lake beneath a clear sky, but the forecast called for heavy snow and wind gusts reaching 80 kilometers per hour. As he prepared the hot tent, he began questioning whether its inflatable frame could handle what was coming.
Can you hear the water, the lake, just lapping on the shore? It's just beautiful. It's actually a clear sky. I'll take you out afterwards. I can see stars. You would not be able to tell the weather that we've got coming in here just by looking at this right now. It's so relaxing, just this calm before the storm. I'm actually kind of nervous. We've got 80 km/h gusts, maybe heavy snow. We're just going to get absolutely slammed. I hope this tent survives. If it doesn't, then I'll have to go and sit in the truck. I can sleep in there properly and be warm. It's got diesel heater in there and everything. I want to be able to stay in here and enjoy the snow. So I'm hoping this tent is strong enough.
The conditions changed quickly. A powerful gust suddenly struck the shelter, violently shaking the chimney and bending the inflatable support beams.
Holy moly. I was out there filming just after moving the truck and sound was coming in. And did you see the gust of wind that suddenly kicked off? As the chimney was just moving like that, and all I could think was, is it going to blow? Is it going to go over? What a nightmare.
Concerned that stronger wind could tear the stakes from the ground, he repeatedly repositioned his truck around the tent to use it as a wind barrier. But the wind kept changing direction. Before long, another side of the shelter was being pushed inward by the storm.
Oh, another huge gust coming through. It's an absolute blizzard outside. Oh, it's raging. The wind keeps changing direction, so now the truck isn't protecting it. There's just nothing I can do about it. Really bending in here. Oh, wow. That was really intense. Yeah, it's just, what do I do? I've really got nothing left in here.
The wood stove now created another serious risk. If the tent collapsed while the stove was still burning, the situation could become far more dangerous. He allowed the fire to burn out, waited for the stove to cool, and moved into the truck.
If the tent collapses, basically, and there's nothing in here, it doesn't matter. But if the stove is on and it catches light to everything, that's a complete nightmare. All right, so I'll put the stove on full, let it burn itself out, let it cool down completely, and then we'll pack that away as well and have all this gear in there. So I'll just stack it up outside the truck, it'll be fine. Shift it in there in the morning. There's no way I could sleep in this tonight. It's not gonna happen. The wind gusts are so strong and coming so early in the day. I can't even imagine what they're gonna be like tonight.
By morning, the tent had survived, but the truck was covered in ice.
Well, first of all, let's turn the seating up. I can't see out the window properly. Let me move you. Oh, I still see it. Hang on, let's have a look. Oh, icy window. Icy. Oh, it looks like it's all perfect. I'm not looking forward to this pack down. I might leave it for a few hours. I'm in no hurry. That's going to be horrible. Oh man, that's going to be so brutal. Okay, I've got to get up, put my bed away, and maybe we'll get a coffee on. All right, let's go out and check it all out. I'm not looking forward to this. Oh, back door's frozen. Hang on. Oh, wow, crunchy. Oh, the wind chill. Oh, let's let Bernie out.
Both front doors had frozen shut, and one of the tent's support stakes had been torn from the ground during the night. He eventually used low range and locked both differentials to free the truck from the campsite.
First I tried it four-wheel drive, got stuck. Tried with rear diff, stuck. Both diffs stuck. In the end I had to put it in low ratio. Diffs locked, front and rear. What an absolute weapon. Okay, let's get out of here. I've got a feeling this is going to be really gnarly. Oh boy, this bit here was deep. Look at this. That's what I was in. That's so deep. Oh, but we got there. Oh.
Getting away was only the beginning. Large snowdrifts covered the road, repeatedly stopping the vehicle and forcing him to work through them one at a time. On a steep section beside a dangerous drop-off, the truck lost momentum and became trapped in deep snow.
First climb with a drop-off. These are the things I'm worried about. Losing traction and then sliding. And I can't see if there's a drift here or not. Oh, there is. Come on. Oh man, that drop is ridiculous. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. I think I got out of it. Okay, I'm gonna have to do low range to get up here, and I mustn't go off this side here, and I can't see out of my mirrors. This is what I was worried about. It's climbing up these things. Okay.
Without tire chains and with no safe way around the drift, he took out a shovel and began clearing a route by hand.
Oh, I need my gloves on, and I'll bring you back when I've done it. It's gonna take me ages. Okay, I've dug out a channel. I need to stay on the left side. Let's see if I can get out of here. This is gonna be close.
After digging a narrow channel through the snow, he tried again. This time, the truck managed to force its way through.
Yes, great success. Oh man, I can smell my clutch, but that was gnarly. Oh, it's so gross out here.
The clutch smelled overheated afterward, but he escaped the drift and continued the difficult journey out. Inflatable tent frames can flex under powerful gusts instead of immediately breaking, but repeated pressure can still loosen stakes and make a hot stove especially dangerous. Would you have stayed through the storm or started leaving before conditions became this difficult? On July 18, 2026, the YouTube channel Life is Too Short shared an incident involving Carol and Ken, a retired married couple who enjoy wild camping in their Concord Nova, which they call Snoopy. They regularly document their travels and camping experiences on the channel. During this trip, they pulled into a parking area after a long day on the road and planned to rest there for the night. A sign at the entrance indicated no overnight parking, but there was no clear information about penalties. Other vehicles were already parked in the area, so they decided to stay. Just as they were preparing to settle down, someone approached their camper and began knocking.
We've been here 1 or 2 minutes and I'm just coming back outside to take an evening shot. There is a man with a dog on the left-hand side of the picture, and I've got no idea he's there until I hear him speak to the dog. So if you stand perfectly still, it's highly likely that nobody will see you. He's not trying to hide from me.
He's not interested in you. No. Good dog. Hi.
So this is what I normally do, a couple of evening shots to set the scene and show you where we parked up for the night. As I looked to my left here, I saw another dog walker coming towards us, but he was a long way off, so I paid no real attention to him. As you can see, other vehicles are parking here, so I didn't think there was any risk at all. Now that may not sound very loud, but when you've got your ear right next to the window where he's knocking, it sounded very loud indeed. What would I do if somebody knocks the door? And the first thing I would do is not open the door until I know who's outside and how many of them there are. The yawn tells me he's anxious and trying to keep calm, because I was asking Carol to give me the phone so that I could see who was outside. We said nothing to him, and I've asked Carol just to be quiet, and he obviously gets impatient and decides he wants to knock again. I'm not going to let this guy dictate what's happening. At the moment he's not aggressive. You don't normally do this.
I know you're in there, I just saw you 2 seconds ago. Are you going to come out?
This guy thinks he can tell me what to do, but he can't. He's a civilian just like I am. Carol is terrified, but I'm not.
Are you going to come out, no?
He's stumped. He has no idea what to do next, because I'm not playing the game. Remember folks, knocking is just knocking. There is no threat.
Ken later explained that he had dealt with many assault cases in the past and that tense situations could begin in very similar ways. Rather than opening the door or stepping outside, he chose to remain inside the locked vehicle and assess what was happening. The man outside became increasingly frustrated when Ken refused to come out. Eventually he explained that he was there because overnight parking was not allowed in the area. Ken still refused to leave the camper and continued to stay calm. His priority was not allowing the situation to turn into a direct confrontation while they remained safely inside.
Now some of you may be thinking, I'd have told him to F off by now, or punched his lights out, or gone outside and challenged him. In my time in CID down in Brighton, I dealt with a lot of serious assaults, and they all start like this. One thing that the police always hated to see was that any potential victim had put themselves in danger. So I'm perfectly safe in this van. There's nothing he can do to me, and he's not causing any damage.
Okay, so we're going to play the game that you're not going to come out.
His game is that he's going to tell me to drive off when I'm tired, and I've got no intention of driving off. So how's he going to react when I tell him that news?
There's a big sign up there saying no overnight parking. People have been parking here, urinating and leaving feces about here.
I'm sure he's right. I'm sure they've had problems. But we haven't caused those problems. And if you watch my videos, you'll see we spend more time picking up people's trash rather than depositing it.
The council put the sign up and they've said anybody that's parking here is to be reported to the police.
That's very interesting because that's not the function of the police.
So I'm giving you the chance to move on. If you don't want to move on, then I'll just phone the police and the police will come through and they'll move you on whenever they get here. So it'll be a bit of a pain. So I would move on now. Are you going to come out and have a grown-up conversation, no?
He really doesn't get it, does it? I'm not going to talk to him. I'm not coming out. And I'm not the one stood outside making a fuss, banging on people's doors at 10 o'clock at night. He's still not a risk. He's still not causing any damage or committing any offences.
No. Okay, I'll just give the cops a call.
And that was his final attempt at intimidation. I've no idea if he called the police or not. If the police had turned up, I would have done whatever the police officer told me to do. But I would have pointed out to them, if they told me to move, that I was extremely tired, so was my wife. Neither of us were in a fit state to drive, in accordance with Rule 91 of the Highway Code. I'd have also told him that we were going to be gone at the crack of dawn in the morning, and surely that we should be allowed to stay there for the night and not cause any...
The experience became a reminder of how important it can be to keep camper doors locked, avoid immediately opening the door for strangers, and carefully check parking restrictions before settling in for the night. Would you have stayed inside like Ken, or driven away as soon as the knocking started? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.